All right. Thanks everyone for joining. Let's go ahead and get started. So we're here on week two, and this week we're going to focus on choosing a product category. So I guess first, before we start, how was week one for you? Did you discover any insights, especially with the time tracking and where you were spending your time? Do you think you're going to be able to open up a little bit of time to work on the business? Jordan, what do you think? Were you able to do the time tracking, the toggle track?
Yeah, so I have both downloaded Habitica and Toggle. I haven't used them yet. It was a volatile week last week. But it's been on my mind. It's still on my phone, so it's a tool that I look forward to using. But yeah, even just in general, sort of the soft side of things, definitely carving out more time dedicated to starting this.
That's great. Yeah, a lot of times it's just getting through the mundane tasks just so you have a little bit of time to work on the business. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge for sure. Shahab, what about you? Do you already use any existing tools for that, for the time tracking or to manage your schedule?
I don't, to be honest, but I am flexible in terms of time, and I do have time that I can spend focusing on this new business. So I'm good on time for sure. I don't use any tools, but I do track my activities through my calendars. I have like three, four different calendars and some of the tools that I use, but I'll definitely start using those tools as well that you recommended.
That's good. Yeah, those tools are really just if you're not using a calendar, if you're not doing anything. But if you're already in control and really good at managing time, then not completely necessary. So week two is drilling down into the business, and we're going to choose a category and a product category. So Jordan, I know you were on the one-on-one last week or the group call, the Ask Me Anything call. Um, and we had a good discussion there. But this, I think, will help give a little bit more clarity on what to look for when you do choose a product. So, we'll be looking into what makes a great product to sell long term. Unlike drop shipping and a lot of the e commerce stuff, where a product might be good for 3 months, 6 months, a year tops, we are going to be looking for products that will sell well for 5, 10, 20 years, or maybe even longer. And definitely product categories that are evergreen and then also eternal. So whether it's a new industry that has a long runway or something that's existed for a long time, those are the types of products that we want to look for. Second, the product knowledge, how we're going to learn about the product, where we're going to get our info, how we're going to become experts, and then the supply, which is important, but I think a lot of people focus on this too much and get too worried about where is the product going to come from, how am I going to get a supplier. It's actually quite easy, I found, to find suppliers. In my own business this week, I found a new supplier from Turkey with an ISO certification and everything they need to sell into the US. And they had a lot of products that aren't readily available in the States. So, probably like once or twice a week, I find a new supplier who's just absolutely ready to do business. And I'm not even actively looking. So, I think product supply is is there for sure. All right. So any business needs a reason for being. And the reason for being exists in the market. It also exists within yourself. So the Japanese call this an ikigai. And you may have seen this term before, but basically it's the cross section of what you love to do, what the world needs, what you can actually make money doing, and then what you are good at. And there's some overlap between these two. People talk about passion or purpose, finding your purpose. Really, what it is, it's the amalgamation of all of these things together, and this becomes your ikigai. So, you want your business, especially in the beginning, especially as a founder, to reflect something about yourself, whether it's your drive for knowledge and teaching and bringing products to the world, or something that you're just really interested in, but something that also makes some money, you want to find the bridge between all of these topics. So, Shahab, I think you're doing robotics and you've been doing that for a long time. Is there anything you would share in terms of why robotics, why you think it's interesting, why you think it's your ikigai?
Yeah, so robotics and automation is something I've been doing for a while and I'm quite passionate about. So basically, focusing on increasing productivity, looking at the challenges we have today with shortage of labor and expertise, and also the tasks that no human really wants to do, like what we call like dumb, dangerous, and dirty tasks. So that's where the automation and robotics has a big place and a lot to play for. So that's my passion, making companies more productive by automating their tasks and also adding value with more AI built into robotics and automation so they can make sense of their data and improve the processes as they go along. So not necessarily a particular product itself, but different types of products that can help small businesses, especially to automate.
That's great. And even the point you made about dull, dangerous, dirty, especially with robotics and AI in the beginning, these are a lot of things that people just don't want to do. You can't find anyone to do it, but the market still needs a solution. Things like farming, agriculture, cleaning, all these different topics. And then, of course, getting paid for that, robotics, automation, that's a huge growing industry. So I think that's a really good one for you, especially since you're already passionate and interested in it. So that's exactly what you want to look for when picking a product category. All right, so let's consider some things when you're choosing the product. So you want to try to understand how unique the product is. You don't want it to be too widely available and commoditized. Jordan, I know we spoke last week about some of the cameras and things like that, and was it going to be difficult selling $50, $100 cameras in kind of a commodity setting? But the thing that we settled on seems to be much better, much more niche, and the profit margins are going to be better. So you want something that's not necessarily easy for other people to access. And even if they can access it easily, you want to make it, you want to almost separate the customer from the access to the product, not directly, but doing it through your knowledge. So the things like data sheets and videos and different explanations that you might provide, you want to make this from a authority viewpoint of this is like not secret knowledge, but you're disclosing it to the customer in a special way that they can't find anywhere else. So maybe they can access the product easily, but they can't access the knowledge. And when you first come to the product, you'll have a lot of questions yourself, and this is the perfect time to develop content to explain to the customer what it is they're looking at and to answer all their questions, because you have the same questions at the same time. So things like, how does it plug in? What accessories do you need? How do you mount it to whatever you're trying to mount it to? What else comes in the package when you get the package? So these answers to the customer questions are critical to providing this experience where it's an exclusive disclosure of information. Another big thing is how durable is your product. So durable goods, these are things that exist or are used for more than 6 months. So things like washing machines, aircraft parts. Something that wouldn't be a durable good would be something like food or clothing or something that can decay or break down over time. So you want to think about what is truly durable in your market segment, and then you want to avoid products that are frequently updated or replaced. So things that are heavily software based and also performance electronics, things that are updated every 6 months or a year, you want to try to stay away from, just because it's going to be difficult to invest in inventory and also invest in the marketing. So if you go out and make a data sheet in a video and you have to um, change it often, you're going to have some difficulty. Let's see. Shahab has a question.
Yeah, just a quick comment, Frank.
Yeah, of
But I
course.
understand your point. But uh, won't we be able to sell more if the product is not durable? Like if it updates regularly or new versions are coming out. If we sell a durable product, will the customer won't return like for a few years to us? So is there a give and take in these two, or you think durable goods are better when you're starting out?
I think there's definitely a give and take. Some of what I would consider is how much time it takes to market and sell the product. Like say it's a non-durable good and um, it only takes a few minutes to update it and send out some new marketing, and you can basically just forward it from the supplier, then that would be okay. But if you're going to invest 2 or 3 years into something like uh, say digital cameras in the early 2000s or cell phones or something like this, the market moves so fast that you're going to um, not be able to recoup that investment of time in the beginning. So don't take it as gospel, but these are things that I would look out for when I'm selecting a product.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah, you also in the beginning you're going to lack scale, and that's going to hurt you. So if you're going up against Best Buy selling laptop computers and every couple months you have to update your advertisement to the latest specs for the laptops, that's going to be difficult to keep up with. So getting something that doesn't change much, that is at least 80-90% of the product is just going to be the same for the next 20-30 years, those are things you want to look for. You also want to
Okay,
look,
thanks.
of course, and thanks for the question. That was a good question. It's definitely a balance, but in on the margins, it, the durability, the long-term nature of the product's huge. So you also want to find a product that excites you, something that you think about every day. It's almost like a manic type of obsession that you'll get about the product. And you'll think about new ways to present it, new ways to market it, new ways to explain what it does. And then you want that initial excitement to last more than 1 or 2 weeks. If you get past that 2 week mark, maybe that 1 month mark, and you start thinking about this over and over for 2 months, 3 months, that's where it really has a long term nature that you yourself, your being, is going to be able to stick with it. So look for things that you could stick with for at least 5 or 10 years. And then also, you want to look at the margin profile for the product. So the market pricing and structure, how many other people are selling it? Is it a catalog item that's probably not so good? Is it a commodity item? Or is it something where it's more of a solution sale where maybe you have to link a bunch of things together to get it to work? So maybe it's a system sale where there's 2 or 3 products, you batch them together, and then you sell it. So batching products is a really good way to start a business because the customer will really like having the single source nature and just buying from one supplier rather than setting up all different suppliers. So start thinking about products that you can batch together under an umbrella of a single product category, and then that product category sits inside of your business. So the beachhead strategy. What this is if you think of the Battle of Normandy, where Britain invaded France to fight off the Axis powers, to fight off Germany in World War II, what they did is they picked the weakest part of the beach and they focused all of their efforts into that one strategic area. And what that was, it was basically a crack in the wall or a chink in the armor where you can then go and establish yourself. So if you look at the graphic over here, a lot of companies when they start, it's a lot of trial and error, throwing spaghetti against the wall, seeing what sticks. That's not really a good way to go about investing your time. What you want to do is start with a very small niche and then expand in waves. So something that you want to niche down so small in the beginning, down to almost like a $1 million market. Any smaller than that is probably too small of a niche. But if you think about like a $1 million size market, it can be bigger, of course, but you want to get so specific that no one else can compete against you in this space. So a good way to do this is with accessories. So accessories for the systems or the hardware that you're selling. Accessories are low risk, low investment, and low competition. So the big 1,000 person companies, 1,000 employees, they're not going to be able to be as good as you in this accessory market because they're focused on the larger systems to pay their overhead, to pay all of the management fees, all of the legal fees that they incur being a large business. So this is the way to get started. You start with the beachhead, you get your toe in the door, and then you start stepping in more and more. Second wave, third wave. So start with accessories. The second wave could be a more expensive accessory or an accessory bundle. And then the third could be the whole system where you sell entire machine or entire system all at the same time. So at the beginning, you want to focus on just a small handful of products, learn the process, and just get started. You really want to try to visualize that very first sale, make that first sale happen so you can understand how to make the sale, how to send the quote, how to accept the payment, how to get it into your bank account, how to place the order for your product at the supplier side, and then how to ship. So there's no dollar amount or anything specific like that for where you want to start, but you want to think about things that are getting overlooked by the competition. So accessories, smaller items, niche items that you may know a lot about, that's the best place to start. And you don't have to stay there for long. Once you get some momentum in that area, then you can expand into the second wave. You want to build on those early wins. All right. So what to look for when you're thinking about the actual products. So we talked a little bit about what to avoid: electronics, performance electronics, software, food, clothing, anything that decays or gets old. Things that are good to focus on are things like optics, things like gas pumps, lighting. All these things retain their value over time. It's almost similar to a gold bar. So if you think about the gold bar principle, could you conceivably put this product on the shelf for 5 years and then still sell it later on at an enhanced value, or at least a value that is tracking with inflation? So when you are selecting products, there are long-term risks that you want to take into account. Things like inflation, technology trends, international trade, tariffs, foreign exchange. These are all, I call them less important factors, but definitely factors nonetheless to take into account. So you don't want to be, say, competing against China and foreign labor in your business. So say you get into a business selling maybe electric scooters or electric bikes. So those aren't made in the USA. And when you start selling something like that, you're competing just against China and all of their subsidies, everything that they do to bolster their manufacturing department or their manufacturing industry. So what might be better is if you focused maybe on bicycles and high-end bicycles with carbon fiber frames and really high-end gear systems, maybe that are made in Europe that you can't get in a lower tier or a lower cost tier market. So with regards to international, that's something you want to look for. Is you want to go more premium in the beginning because that's where the niche is going to be. It's going to be difficult for you to compete at scale in the medium to lower end of the market. So when you're thinking about a product, it's better to go premium, and it's better to find things that are similar to the gold bar. So the reason gold is so valuable is it doesn't decay, doesn't oxidize or get rusty. And then it can also be used in a lot of different industries. So we know it maybe as a jewelry or as a way to hold value, but it also has a lot of utility in the electronics sector, especially space electronics. All of the crazy UV rays, everything in space, um, makes gold the perfect selection for making wires and electronics in space. It's also quite rare. There's not like a big node of gold under every mountain. It takes a lot of refinement to get that gold bar. It's a lot of energy inside of the bar, a lot of human energy, a lot of labor it takes to get it to this state. So think about your products like that. So maybe like for my business, we do a lot of machine products, pieces of steel, pieces of aluminum, very similar to gold, just a different metal. But what makes it valuable is all of the labor that's gone into it to machine it into its form as a fixture. So think about this when you're thinking about your products. So the good news is I do have a full list of product categories that could be selected from, and that is in the school group. So I'll just take a second and we'll do some school group navigation. So this is great for anyone that's new to the community or new to the course. So when you first log in, you'll see just the notes. Those are usually notes from myself, but everyone that's in the community can also write notes. So you could write a note to introduce yourself, ask a question to the group. This is good. And I think I have a question. Let me go over. Yes.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Frank. I
No
think you
problem.
mentioned not to get into indirect competition with manufacturers in China and international cheaper labor. That all makes sense. I just had a quick question about the e-commerce giants like the Amazons of the world, because the more and more, I was at the CES and I was looking at some new products in the automation field. There are a bunch of new products, but I think 90% of the people said, "Oh, we're selling through Amazon. You can go and buy it from Amazon. We really don't need partners or resellers." I don't know how that situation is going to evolve. You think there will still be a place for smaller businesses to sell online, or eventually it would be everything like on something like Amazon?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Amazon FBA is huge now. So that's when you ship all of your products to an Amazon warehouse and they ship it for you. And then you can also put it onto the Amazon web store and their app and everything. The nice thing about that is you save on shipping costs because you're in the Amazon network. You also save on the picking of the order, putting it in the box, packing it. For the businesses we're talking about, it's more of a solution sell where you are increasing the value of your product by doing some light engineering in the beginning. So you're helping the customer choose what they want to buy. So at CS, it's a lot of consumer type products. When you start dealing with businesses, they need more of a specific solution for their business. So during the sales process, when you talk to them, you'll uncover what they need and you'll be able to add products into a bundle or into a system and make your quote have more line items, more products. And this is something that the customer could maybe buy from Amazon if they spent a few hours sourcing everything and cross referencing and making sure it all integrates well and plugs in together. But that's the value that you provide. There are bundles on Amazon that you can buy, but businesses generally they don't really buy from Amazon. The main way they buy is typing whatever they want into Google or whatever they're looking for, and Amazon shows up, but also your website shows up too. So um, I think I think in the future it could change, but you want to find products and product categories where it's not like a buy off the shelf type of thing. It's like, okay, let me customize this and make sure you're getting the right configuration and everything's going to be in the box. I'm going to send you one box and everything's going to be in there. You can get going right away. Does that answer your question, or do you have any counterpoints that you might argue against?
No, I think that makes sense. I think the more we can differentiate, the other thing that comes to mind is obviously the support and after sales service, which is pretty rare on Amazon. So if we can, also market that, and not only will tailor your solution, we also offer you support if needed. I think the more we differentiate ourselves from just a marketplace, the better.
I think so too, and that's really the big thing in the beginning is the differentiation and standing out. So here in the Skool community, if you bounce over to the classroom, you can see the different courses. So I do have some free courses. Everyone right now is in the 8-week Business Builder Blueprint program. This will eventually become an exclusive course for members only. So I have some free courses and some paid content. And this content that we're doing now is free in February and March. But the way it works is you can go into each week and you can see the slides for the week, the live call recording, which is taking place now, and then also the checklist. So this is everything that you should complete in each week. And by the end of it, you'll have a full business. You can also go here to the materials, checklists, and trackers. So this is going to have the 100 different product categories. And just to give you an idea, also has the habit tracker that we talked about in week 1. To give you an idea, if we go to the free mini course, which is basically this course but in boiled down to an hour with not much depth, I have an example of all the different equipment that you could potentially sell. So these are things like microscopes, PCR machines. This is from a life sciences laboratory. So all of these machines cost maybe $30,000, $40,000 each, and the profit margin on them is anywhere between 25 and 50%. So just selling one of these machines can net you $10,000 or more, basically a whole month's worth of income. So that's the classroom. So each week you'll see new courses. I'll also put in some free courses. Also check out the calendar. So this 11 a.m. time slot seems to be working, so we'll do that. And then 10 a.m. on Fridays, I have an Ask Me Anything, which is basically like an open office hours. And then 10 a.m. on Mondays is just a reminder to book your one-on-one call for me. So as part of the course, you get 1 hour of direct time, and that can even be co-working time. So if you want me to actually do something for your business, like write some web pages or some content, like you want to actually have a work session, it's like a free 1 hour of work where you can use me to do the work for you. So with the members, leaderboards, I'll do more with this later, but the main thing is the classroom and the calendar. And the classroom is where you'll find all of the materials for each week. So let's get back to week 2 here. All right, so that was the 100 product categories list. So a lot of life sciences equipment. I also have plenty of other equipment. There's 10 different categories in there. So for each category, you want to research the top 10 suppliers, a little bit of week 1 homework, and then which suppliers could you potentially work with. When thinking about suppliers, you want to think about maybe cross-regional suppliers. So if you're in the US, someone in Europe, and if you're in Europe or another country, maybe someone in the US. Some good tools to work with. One is SEMrush. So this is a free tool, or at least the free version of this tool is quite powerful. And what you can do is you can plug in a competitor website into SEMrush. SEM stands for Search Engine Marketing. And you can get their top keywords, what they're focusing on, how they're marketing their product. You can use that for ideas on how to market your own products, and also find niches or places where you can potentially penetrate with that beachhead strategy. And then you can use ChatGPT. So this is a new tool within the last year or so to write all of your web copy. And this is really what is going to accelerate you and allow you to compete against those huge industries, because you're going to be able to generate content faster than anyone else using ChatGPT. So this has leveled the playing field in the last year. All right, so to get started, we want to think of a business name. So you want to pick a relevant and descriptive name, which is going to encompass some of your products. So you don't want to pick a name that's too vague, too general, something like Green Mountain Company, or like your state, like California Industrial Company. You want to think more about your specific industry, especially when you're smaller. And since we're doing a distributor buy sell type of industry, you want to make it focused, product focused in the name. So my company, Universal Grip, we sell grips and fixtures, and we sell them onto universal testing machines. So basically I took the two products and mashed them together and made it almost into a keyword play, as well as the name of the business. People in that industry can immediately understand what it is that we sell, and it really helped bolster me in the search engines, in the keyword searches, and then also just mentally when the customer thinks about your business, you want to make it super easy for them. You want to think almost like you're marketing to a goldfish. You want to expend the least amount of energy, mental energy, to get your point across to the customer. And this is like absolutely ruthless. The better you can get at this, the better off you'll be. So instead of writing technical topics like a high school or college level, you want to put it into like 6th grade or 5th grade words. So think about that when you're thinking about your business name. Make it simple, make it clear, make it concise, make it descriptive, and then use ChatGPT to workshop it. So you can ask ChatGPT to put in 10 or 20 different proposed business names. So explain in a paragraph or two what your business is, and then ask it to develop some names for you to choose. After you pick a business name, let it settle for a couple of days. You want it to not change. You want it to make sense when you wake up the next morning. Once you've done that, then you can start opening your accounts. So LinkedIn business page, this is important. It's also free to do. This is going to be one of the main ways to collect leads for yourself, especially in the beginning. LinkedIn is great because every week you can connect with 100 different people. If you make it extremely focused for your ideal customer profile, your ICP, you can make it so you're only linking with those people and have like a highly targeted advertising platform for free through LinkedIn. Wix account. So Wix is the website editor that I use. I would recommend it. I would probably recommend just using the regular editor. Sometimes it's called the old editor, the original editor, instead of their pro suite. Just easier to use. It's similar to making a PowerPoint presentation, and also has all the advanced capabilities too. So you can add code, HTML code if you'd like, but just doing the basic Wix account. You can also start building your website before you buy the domain. Once you're ready and you want to spend $20 a month to actually start the business, that's all it takes. You can get web hosting through Wix. You can get your business email at your host name. So yourname@company.com, like a really nice looking business email. And then also start your YouTube channel. So link your YouTube channel to your business email, and we'll get into what to post in the subsequent weeks. So this is the week 2 account starting tasks. And then as a bonus, and if you have additional time, you can see the full list of accounts that you'll need to set up in the materials section. So there's about 20 or 30 different accounts that you'll need. Almost all of them are free. It's just a matter of setting up the login, the password, linking it to your email. Just takes a few hours to get everything set up. So the ideal customer profile. So we want to start thinking about the ICP for the customer we're looking at. So there's really 2 main levels and 2 main things to think about. One is the company level. So the type of company, the size, the location. So say you're selling sewing machines, you want to look for textile companies and companies that make the products. Maybe you're selling automotive sewing machines. So you want to find automotive plants, but not the final automotive plants. You want to find like the tier 2, tier 3 automotive plants. And then you want to find the location. Those are probably all going to be in the Michigan area or the Midwest area. There's probably not going to be a lot of like tier 2 automotive plants in California or in Vermont, right? So think about that state level designation. This is going to be important for your ad targeting later on. But the two most important things are the type of company and the size. So we'll stick with this automotive sewing machine example, and then the individual level. So this is the actual person that you're going to be selling to. This might be the plant manager, this might be the quality manager. So really try to narrow this down and then start visualizing your first sale, who it is and in what type of company that you'd actually sell to. We don't really need to go into all these like nitty gritty details of an ICP. I think it's important, but spending too much time on this, you want to spend maybe 30 minutes thinking about this. This is something you think about sort of on the side. You don't have to make a whole like 10-page report on your ICP. That's too much. But definitely you should be able, like after this exercise, within 10 seconds, know exactly who it is, in what type of company, and what type of position level that you're selling to. And then on your LinkedIn, and we'll talk about this later, we're talking to that specific person, we're connecting with that specific person. All right, so week 2 wrap up. First, check the week 2 checklist. So again, that's in the school community. You can find that in the week 2 section. It's already uploaded. You want to finalize on a business name. Next week, we're going to be getting into website development. So really need to have the name of your business finalized and determined. And then what that does, it allows us to start opening up the business accounts. Then schedule your one-on-ones with me. If you have any questions about business name or you want to just run it by me, that's a good time. And then the Ask Me Anything sessions are on Friday at 10 a.m. I might actually stream those sessions too. So if you come in and there's a lot going on, that's basically like an open session. So you can choose to join. The stream is basically going to be like a show where I just answer questions and also just do some general content. But those are on Fridays at 10 a.m. All right. So that concludes the content for week 2. Any questions or any feedback? Let's see. Let's start with Jordan.
Yeah. No, this is definitely these are some exciting steps to be at. For the email, whenever you do a website and domain, do you recommend just using like an info at and the company name, or you know how you can have like sales or support?
Yes. I would do this. So with Wix, with the base program, you get 2 emails. I would do your main email and have it just be simple, like jordan@companyname.com. And then the second one can be like an administrator or general email. So it can either be info at or sales at, I think is better. And then you could also think about having like a name, maybe someone you work with or a family member or something else, just have like a separate name on the account. Makes you look a little bit bigger, and you can actually use their email and stuff as long as you're not signing anything legal with someone else's name. That adds like a little bit more business structure. You want the customer to be like one level removed from yourself. So in case there's any issues like with shipping or chargeback or any like customer service things, you want there always to be a manager. Even if it's yourself, you can just say, oh, like, hey, let me forward you over to my manager. if you've ever seen like customer service at a coffee shop or something when they say like, well, I am the manager, that never ends well. So you want to have that one level removed, and you can do that in those two ways.
Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense.
Awesome. That was a really good strategic question. Shahab, any feedback or final thoughts for this week?
No, I think it was great. Thanks, Frank, for taking the time. I learned a few new things, so I'll go through the collateral and be ready for the next call.
That's good. Yes, week 3 is going to be website design and building. So we want to have the 2 or 3 checklist items finished. So next week we can actually get into how do we structure the website, how do we build the pages, how do we build the content, and that's going to be our main lead generation tool is website, search engines, and eventually AdWords driving traffic all to the site. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. I'll see you Friday in the open call. And if not, schedule a one-on-one with me for more questions. And otherwise, we'll see you next week, next Wednesday, same time, same place.
Thanks, Frank. Take care.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
That's great.
Have
Yeah,
a good
thanks,
one.
Frank.
No problem. Anytime. All right, guys. See ya.